Hello, welcome to Control Through the Purchasing Process, and we're going to talk about selecting products in this video. So how do we select products, right? So when purchasing food for yourself, what factors do you consider other than price, right? Well, you're not going to answer me? Okay, well, I'll give you some suggestions, right? So what do we consider instead of just price? Well, quality. Where is it? Is it convenient? Do I have a car to go to that store? Do they have delivery? I mean, there's many different factors. Do they have the quality? Do they have the product that I'm looking for, right? How do you decide where to shop, right? All those factors come into play. Do they have the right price? Of course, right? But are they near you? Are they convenient? Do they offer the products you're looking for? You know, out of all those lists, where's price? Is it at the top of the list or is it the bottom of the list? I'm not saying there's a right spot for it or a wrong spot for it, and it needs to be factored in, but it isn't the end-all be-all for most businesses, right? Yeah, I can get the cheapest beef that I can for my hamburger, but is it really worth it? Are the customers going to want that, regular ground, hopefully cow, right? So how do we decide how much food we're going to buy, right? That's going to come with forecasting later, but it's also going to depend on the pack sizes that are available. Can I buy 1 can of soup, or do I have to buy 15 or 12 cans of soup, right? Do we buy exact quantities or estimate? And again, that ties in with some pack size issues, right? And that listed right there, right? So what factors do we have that go into selecting the right product? Well, first thing that I consider is quality, right? Is it a grade or level or physical product that fits with my menu, with my restaurant, right? Processing. What level of processing? Am I looking for steaks on my menu? I want New York steaks. So am I buying already pre-cut steaks? Or am I buying a whole strip loin? Or am I buying a whole cow, right? That's going to determine who and where we're buying from, right? Equipment and staff skills. So do I have the equipment available to process it myself? Do I have the skill of staff? If I'm going to buy a whole cow and I want New York steaks out of that cow, do I have qualified staff that can butcher that cow? Do I have a rail system to bring that cow in so that I can actually process it properly? So equipment goes into what we can buy and from who we can buy, right? Storage space and type. Do we have the ability to store that cow, right? Do we have a big enough cooler and he'll still have space for all the other products that we need, right? What's the shelf life? How often can I order? Am I going to use up this whole cow before I'm getting spoilage, right? Brand and mission. So this is important because how does that play with the vision of your restaurant? How are you selling your restaurant to your customer, right? What's the brand of your restaurant? Is your brand of restaurant a nose-to-tail restaurant and you're known for working with local farmers, and that's going to impact what you buy, where you buy, and who you buy from, right? And of course, cost and value. So depending on your type of restaurant, all of these different factors are going to have a little bit different weighting, right? And depending on your brand and mission is going to sort of feed into quality, and quality is going to feed into cost and value, and etc., right? So what do we do when we're creating our menus is we create something called a product specification or product spec. And what this does is it defines the acceptable parameters for a product. So I'm going to make tomato sauce in my restaurant. I want San Marino tomatoes because I think they're the best tomatoes and they're going to make my best tomato sauce. That's what's called for in the restaurant. So that's what I'm going to look to my suppliers to give me as a spec for a product. I don't want Heinz 57 tomatoes. I want San Marzano, right? So this goes into my product specification. Product specification is going to allow us to eliminate miscommunication between our purchaser and purveyor, right? Our purchasing department for our restaurant and our supplier, right? So chef says he wants San Marzano tomatoes. I will not accept Heinz. I will not accept La Provençale. I will only accept what I've said that we're going to use in our restaurant. One, it's going to keep our pricing consistent because we're using the same product every time, and it's going to keep the quality of our tomato sauce the same every time, right? So a product spec is very important to maintain quality and maintain costs. On that spec, it may include some of the following. Obviously the quality, right? So if it's beef, what grade is it, right? Size, processing, how much has it been processed? What's the pack size of the product? What is acceptable for us in our restaurant? Is there a brand, right? Does it need to be CAB, certified Angus beef, or is that not part of our restaurant, right? Where it came from, is it a farm? Is it, Snake River Farms pork loin or whatever, right? If we're talking produce, what's the degree of ripeness? Talking tomatoes, are they breakers? Are they pinks, right? All those factors go into our product specification. Color and pack size. What size of container does it come in, right? That's a product specification. This tells me exactly what kind of tomatoes, what kind of beef, what kind of products I'm going to use in my recipe for tomato sauce, for beef bourguignon, for whatever. So that before the cooks get a hold of the products, we've got consistent pricing and quality and product and volume, right? This keeps things the same. Consistency is huge in our business. So that's the product specification. The next thing I want to talk about is a purchase specification. So a purchase specification is all the product specification plus a couple other things, our delivery schedule and credit terms. So a purchase specification is different from a product specification in that it tells us when we're going to get it from our supplier and how long do we have to pay for it, right? So are we going to be able to get a delivery on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday? And do we have net 30 days to pay for it? That's our credit, right? Just like a credit card. How long do we have to pay for it, right? So those are all important factors and go into how we choose a product. The next video, we're going to talk about how do we select the purveyor? How do we select what supplier we're going to use?